Hello, everyone, and welcome to part one of our U.S. Summer Learning Series entitled Communities Reimagined, Unlocking the Full Potential of Communities. Before we get into our session and introduce our speaker, Jason, today, I'm going to cover just a few housekeeping items. During the session, please feel free to add any questions you have into the Q&A box. We'll have time at the end to answer some questions, and if we don't get to your question, we'll definitely follow up with you afterwards. Immediately following this session, we will be sharing the full session recording for you to watch on demand. So without further ado, let's welcome our speaker of today's session, Jason Solak. In his role of Vice President of Data Science at Humanate, Jason helps clients uncover creative opportunities to get closer to their customers through insights, analytics, and knowledge management, including online communities. With that, Jason, I'll pass the mic over to you.
Great. Thank you, Greg, and thank you, everyone, for attending. As Greg mentioned, I'm Jason Solak. I've been with Humanate, formerly Ganges, for 25 years now. And Humanate is an organization that believes deeply in communities. We've been working with methodology for about 20 years at this point, which is kind of hard to believe. But in today's session, we're going to be exploring what consumers are expecting from brands today, how those needs are changing, and how communities can help close the gap between brands and their audiences. But before we get into communities, we want to share some data that speaks to the rising expectations that people have towards brands. In one of our own studies last year, we uncovered that 63% of consumers, or 63% of consumers believe brands should be helping them live a better life, while only 12% believe brands when they claim they put their consumers first. So we're obviously seeing a disconnect already from what consumers expect from brands and how they believe brands are acting on their wants and needs. And the value of communities has not gone unnoticed, with 60% of insights leaders indicating that they're currently using communities in one shape or form. But when they say they're using communities, what do they really mean? There's really not a clear-cut definition. It may refer to intimate, deep qualitative communities. In other cases, it could be large panels that could be DIY focused. It may be a quantitative community or any place in between. It's clear that communities have taken on a lot of faces over the years, and that is not a negative thing. It's actually one of the community's strengths, and we're going to touch on more of that in a bit. So the key to the power of a community is the connection and collaboration between all involved, from participant to stakeholder. Traditionally, we've seen communities set up in a way where consumers are playing a game of telephone between community partners and insights teams, which finally leads to internal stakeholders. But we really need to evolve that relationship and create more human-to-human connections between all involved. This will help us build empathy and understanding that can really drive change within an organization. So with that in mind, there are three crucial ingredients to unlock the full potentials of community and drive change for your brand. Leveraging new and existing partnerships to act on insights, embracing a people-led approach, and through it all, making sure we're bringing diverse perspectives. Now, each of these three elements can and really should be customized to suit the business needs you're trying to achieve. After all, insights without action really remain untapped potential. So now we're going to touch on each of these three and take a closer look at these different dimensions. Starting off with partnership. So before deciding to go down the road of a community, we want to make sure you understand your stakeholders and how a community can be leveraged. Are your stakeholders bought into the idea of a community? Do you have advocates for community within your stakeholder group? Do you have enough content in the way of activities to keep members engaged and active? A community is an investment, and it requires time, money, planning. So creating alignment around what success looks like for a community is a critical step to ensure you're achieving the ROI on your investment. This is why we think of stakeholder engagement from the very beginning. We want to set the community up for success. It's important to align your community plan with your business goals and get stakeholders close to drive impact. So we think of this as a journey, and it really starts with vision. So involving stakeholders from the onset, exploring use cases, learnings from the past, defining what success looks like for the future. Early stakeholder alignment sessions can help ensure the community is designed to fulfill your business needs. So things like developing KPIs. How do we know that the community is performing in the way we want it to? That will ensure it's delivering value. Onboarding, training those stakeholders to ensure they gain the greatest value from the engagement. Offer them opportunities to experience it firsthand so they're comfortable with the technology. Connections, creating an ongoing socialization plan, and spend time immersing in consumers' life. This is really the meat of the community, that time we spend with the participants in the community, getting to know them on a human level is really the power of a community. So we spend a lot of time focusing on this. Tracking. So regularly tracking those KPIs we developed early on in the process to ensure that it's continuing to meet the business needs, as well as looking at community health, making sure that members are engaged and invested in the experience. The recruitment of a community can be one of the major drivers of cost within the space. So once we have members in the community, we want to make sure they're feeling good and they're engaged. And finally, evolving, revisiting that vision that we set at the very beginning, because communities can be long-term engagements and businesses change over time. The nice thing about communities is they do offer the ability to pivot and adjust as time goes on to make sure they continue to meet your needs. So moving on to people. A community isn't just a random collection of people brought together on a digital platform. These people actually represent the consumers that are carefully recruited to bring their voice into your organization's strategy. So at Humanate, we embrace that people come with different sets of unique perspectives. In order to achieve your community's purpose, it's crucial to engage with the right people at the right time. And this is where a layered approach can come in. We identify different profiles within your community, enabling you to hear the voice of the people that represent who you're trying to grow from. However, it's not just about acknowledging that different experiences that different people bring. We also need to be intentional about who you're talking to and create a mindful space to encourage people to share their voice. So there's been this rise in the idea of the inclusive consumer, where consumers are looking to brands to match their values and put their money with where their beliefs align. Consumers expect that brands walk the walk and build authentic and empathetic relationships across a broad spectrum of identities. So inclusive insights is about better research and better results for everyone. As humans, we have so much in common, but our lived experiences can be very different. No matter who you're trying to reach, we want them to feel safe, seen, heard, welcomed. And inclusive insights are about creating great respondent experiences and then authentically bringing those experiences to life in the form of insights. But it's not just about the feel-good factor in that. Traditionally, underrepresented groups have trillions of dollars in buying power. They pay attention to which brands get it right and which ones don't, and they don't always behave like Gen Pop. So inclusive insights are vital to a brand's bottom line. So in order to achieve this, we need to create a space where people feel safe and they can voice their true opinions. We need to build a sense of belonging, build meaningful relationships, and really make them feel a part of the team. And again, we have a framework that we like to look at this through, starting with purpose. When participants of a community can connect their voice with the success of the business, they become more invested in that brand, even stating they feel a greater sense of purpose by being a community member. Recognition, creating that human-to-human relationship can fuel our intrinsic motivation of being seen and valued. And communities allow members to feel a deeper, more meaningful connection with brands. With belonging, we strive to establish an environment that honors people as humans. It's creating a sense of fellowship, not only between members, but also with moderators and stakeholders. Just keep in mind that the role of a moderator is also to humanize a relationship, make people feel special and welcome. And one way we can create a deeper connection with members is through member circles, where subsets of members can engage with one another, driving greater affinity towards the community itself and increased engagement in research activities. achievement. So while financial incentives, as we know, are a great way to get people motivated to join a community, it's far less useful in sustaining long-term engagement. Creating feedback loops to share the impact of the community's work can deepen the feeling of purpose and recognition, turning consumers into brand advocates that are invested in the brand's success. So we want to use this collaborative platform within the community that we've built to really form human-to-human connections, listen to the participants, and really treat them as stakeholders in your business. And finally, empowerment, taking engaged members and using them for things like co-moderated activities, allowing them to bring their voice to your stakeholders. This increases a sense of achievement within people in the community, creates greater engagement, and creates a sense of transparency within the community. So bottom line, it's important to use a diverse set of methods, keep things fresh and different for participants, meet people where they are, recognize that people have different communication and learning styles, and try to keep the community fun for people. And finally, perspectives. Getting to great insights isn't really the end goal of the community. There's no value in just that if you don't activate on them. So to fuel human intuition throughout your organization, you need to put your stakeholders front and center. So ultimately, decisions are made with the consumer in mind. But activation is more than just creating content and creative deliverables. It's creating human experiences that really drives impact. It's about building empathy. For example, setting up a Consumer Connect program where we can match stakeholders with community members for live chats so they can get close to the people in the community and get to know the humans behind the data. It's also about changing their minds and going beyond specific project deliverables. Communities are a great collection of knowledge about consumers. Taking a broader view and looking at the big picture can reveal deep insights made even more powerful by creating impactful deliverables. And thinking about all the data that lives within a community, we can now leverage AI to turn that wealth of community data into a consumer intelligence system to extract learnings or build hypotheses when you start a new project. So we know communities can be a powerful tool and they can leverage a lot of different methodologies, but we also know we need to move quickly and get to insights fast. So with that in mind, we built our technology as researchers for researchers, thinking it through the lens of think, feel, make, and do, allowing for fast and efficient ways to connect with members while driving outcomes needed for your particular business challenge. This ability to scale effectively allows us to not get bogged down with logistics and really fast track to insights or data collection. So think activities allow us to collect the perceptions, reflections, opinions, attitudes that people can easily express. Feel activities are used to uncover consumers' emotions, which can influence their thoughts and behaviors. Make activities challenge people to formulate creative ideas that build on strong consumer insights. And do activities effectively capture people's behavior in the digital or real world. So in order to see the full picture, we have to have the ability to bring different perspectives together using a diverse toolkit. Communities allow for this customizable experience that can bring broad perspectives in both the ways of participants and methodologies. So we talked earlier about the many faces of communities. It's also important to note that they can serve many audiences. We obviously have the insights function, but communities are also powerful tools for CX, brand strategy, innovation, just to name a few. And this versatility is important to note, as communities can solve a variety of business and audience needs within your organization. So next, we're going to talk about a specific example that brings this to light. So the versatility of communities was key when Mars Wrigley, the parent company behind brands like Snickers and Twix, teamed up with us. Being on a mission to inspire moments of everyday happiness, Mars Wrigley wanted to enhance its product portfolio with healthier options that promote physical, emotional, and social resilience. For this specific study, we focused on identifying the white spaces and human needs to fuel the health and wellness innovation strategy. They needed consumer insights for a focused innovation agenda. This was done via a combination of foundational and agile methods. I know sometimes agile and foundational insights are perceived as things that don't blend well together, but I don't know that they're truly at odds with each other. Innovating in a space as broad as health and wellness requires some time to think things through, for sure. But having a strong foundation of consumers' unmet needs and tensions allows you to move much faster and more confidently through the rest of the process. So to fuel this journey with consumer relevance, we engage with healthy-minded consumers in the UK, China, France, and the US for several weeks in a mobile-first community. In total, we followed about 200 people across those 4 markets, with discussions moderated by local moderators in local language to establish trust and gain deep understanding of the health and wellness journey. Leveraging a mobile community, which is yet another face of how communities can take shape, allowed us to meet members where they are, capturing their reflections in the moment, which is really critical for the research that we were doing here. So in order to address this challenge, we had to leverage multiple perspectives. And one of those perspectives was the micro moment. So many of you may have experience with occasion models, but in this case, we needed something more granular to understand context and really fuel the innovation. So a micro moment is a combination of multiple elements. There's the what, thinking about the environment of enjoying a snack, where's the time, the place, the situation. The why, what are the triggers and motivations that's driving the snacking behavior? As well as the challenges. What are the frictions that people are experiencing to meet their desired outcome? And in the context of health and wellness, these moments can be very layered as people are balancing physical, emotional, and mental well-being. One such example of a micro moment is the courage snack. So on the right side of the slide here, you'll see a quote from one of our French community members bringing this micro moment to life. And she said, "I had an important business meeting. I needed something to give me courage, something to provide comfort and kindness to my body that would make me feel invigorated and ready for the tough negotiations that awaited for me." So capturing moments like this through that mobile community illustrates the power of this always-on platform. It allowed us to connect with these consumers in the moments while their experiences were fresh. So the centerpiece of our project to uncover those relevant micro moments was the ethnography. Participants shared detailed diaries of their snacking moments, documenting their emotions before and after. To gain deeper insights, we also ran task-driven activities like activation and deprivation exercises to add further layers of understanding. Although the mobile ethnography was crucial to develop these micro moments, we didn't just stop there. We also looked through multiple perspectives again. For example, the longitudinal nature of our study facilitated consecutive learnings, allowing hypotheses to be shaped and then also validated throughout the process. We delved into specific ingredients, even explored potential claims and ideas, the activities that captured members' instant reactions, and provided us with some directional quant research. So bottom line here, the technology and the community itself were really the glue that held all this together. It allowed us to capture micro moments. It allowed us to capture all the supporting data we needed throughout this process. So this holistic approach resulted in a map of 27 meaningful micro moments. These moments were mapped depending on the time of day and the balance between what people wanted in terms of healthy to a tasty snack. This model allowed us to identify common patterns and insights, bringing together micro moments that had something in common. This way, we could level them up into 8 innovation platforms for health and wellness, each coming with distinct opportunities for Mars Wrigley and being a springboard for product development. And then during workshops, 3 innovation platforms were prioritized. And in the meantime, 3 successful innovations have been launched in record speed. We had the Snickers High Protein, Twix Odie, and the M&M Munchums. So each of these products were born out of micro moments, striking a balance between consumers' desires for indulgence and healthier choices. These products not only surpassed sales targets, but also rapidly secured top positions in their respective categories without using extensive marketing campaigns. So this project really showcases the community's versatility and diverse perspectives can really drive the foundational insights. And those foundational insights enable brands to become more agile as it provides confidence during the innovation process. And all this was really enabled by bringing the right people, partnerships, and perspectives together to deliver powerful results. So that is what we would like to share with you guys today. So, Greg, I'm going to turn it back over to you, see if we have any questions.
Hi, Jason. Great job. Thank you. That was a really great presentation. And as I mentioned at the outset, if you have any questions for Jason, please feel free to add them in the chat. I do see we have a few that have come in, so I'll kick us off with the first one I see here, which is, you mentioned the use of AI for community data. Could you explain more?
Sure. Yeah, we have a product that we've developed internally within the organization that's now being used to leverage the engine behind ChatGPT, which I'm sure everyone is well aware of at this point. Using that AI engine, we're able to take data securely, feed it into those engines, and take a look at aggregating a lot of messy data or a lot of unstructured data as a way for us to gain broad insights on things, not necessarily a way for us to shortcut any of the rigor that goes into research, but as a way to kind of round things out, another tool in the toolbox. So we're really excited about that. There is obviously coming up in our future, I think our next webinar series is around some of that AI technology. So lots more information to come on that.
Great. I'll definitely be here to check that out. Looking forward to that. Okay, very good. Second one, in the presentation, you mentioned inclusive insights. Can you talk more about what you mean by that?
Sure. So thinking about inclusive insights, I obviously spoke to the idea around how to bring different voices within the community. The way we go about doing that is some degree of exercise in making sure we have the right folks within the community. So within the recruitment, making sure we're bringing in a holistic picture of the people that are the consumers that you're trying to reach. But it's also around understanding culturally the nuance between all of us. And like I'd mentioned, it's about lived experiences that we've had. It's the subtleties of us being human beings that are all individual and unique. So we take a lot of care and attention when formulating who we're bringing into the community and how we're interacting with them. And actually, we have partnerships that help us round that out even more further to ensure that we're really honoring and paying respect and correctly representing voices of all shapes.
Yeah, very good. Great answer. And yeah, I know that internally within Human Aid, this is an area of increased focus and something we're going to be sharing more with our clients about as we go forward as well. Another question just came in. How do I set the appropriate context for members within my panel on their place in the process? Just because they recommend something doesn't mean it gets implemented. So setting that expectation about, people sharing and what their role is in the overall process.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that really begins from the beginning when we're introducing people into the community, setting expectations around how transparent we're going to be, treating them as humans, having them understand that not every idea that comes from this can be activated upon. I mentioned in one of these slides around the idea of sharebacks and rounding back with people. Sometimes it's a matter of there's a great idea, but there's things that are technically difficult about bringing those to market. It could be something as specific as a manufacturing process or, feasibility within certain spaces. So getting to a place of transparency with your community when possible, to be able to say how these things impacted decisions within the organization, being transparent about barriers that might come to bring those to market, how we took that input and brought that forward in different ways to try and address the needs or the ideas that were brought out in the community is really important. And I feel the more we can have that human to human connection with the organization and the participants in the community, the stronger people will feel towards the brand itself and a deeper understanding of it's understandable that you couldn't bring this, even though this would be the ideal solution from my perspective. So to me, it's around early expectation setting and then transparency throughout the process.
Yeah, and I think by implementing that sort of communication with participants in the community, it helps them understand how they are a stakeholder in amongst other stakeholders that are kind of focused on this particular topic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. I think we have time for one more here. Just a quick one. How long did the case study you mentioned take in total?
Sure. I think we had the participants for about 2 weeks where we were engaging with them. I think from the beginning of that engagement through delivery, it was about a 3-month process.
Okay, very good. Sounds like some good work. Okay, excellent. Yeah. All right, well, I think that concludes part one of our summer learning series for today. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us. In order to create a better experience for the future, we'd love to hear from you. You can click on the pop-up on your screen now to take a quick 2-minute survey, or you can click the link in the follow-up email that will come with the on-demand recording. And we're going to definitely look forward to next week's session, which is entitled again, After the Party Tricks, Using AI for Real Work. Look forward to seeing you there. And thanks again. And hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye all.
Thank you.